Go ahead.
Okay. Welcome back to In the Ring with Termite and Mr. S. Mr. S, have we got another good one tonight?
We do. We say that all the time, but like I was saying, we always get to chat with the guests before the show, get to know them a little bit more, and these stories that we're fixing to hear are very inspirational.
Well, you know, the first time I met him, he was interesting, but man, once we got to know him, I mean, it's out there. It's good.
Like peeling back layers of an onion, get to know a person some more.
And
I think the stories that he's going to share about the things he overcame, some of the toughest things that I think any of our guests have.
All right, so what are we waiting for?
Let's just go ahead and just bring him on. So go
Let's
ahead and cue the intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another main event on In the Ring with Termite and Mr. S. Stepping into the ring tonight is a man who has spent his life building speed, sharpening minds, and developing leaders. From the track lanes of Houston-Tillotson University to the fast-paced battlefield of arena football with the Austin Knights. He's coached discipline. He's trained resilience. He doesn't just prepare athletes for the game. He prepares them for life. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Coach Gordon Lloyd.
We're going to get down.
Can't hear it.
All right, so I'm going to take the lead while Donald's getting that. Man, this is going to be fun. Thank you for being with us.
Pleasure being here.
Yeah, we're fixing to
me.
dig right down into it. We're going to let Mr. S take the lead now, and then I'm going to be the one that jumps in.
Great.
Well, thank you for coming on again, Lloyd.
Thank you for having me.
As we did a little intro, listen to some of your story at the beginning of this. I'm just amazed, and I know that the folks listening are going to be not only amazed but hopefully inspired, because our show is about overcoming and inspiring, and you've overcome things that I can't even fathom. So we're going to save that and just jump into it. Just introduce yourselves for us. Where you grow up, kind of like the basics. How'd you grow up?
Tell us about you.
Okay, my name is Lloyd Gordon. I grew up in Houston, northeast Houston area. It's called Buckingham, pretty rough area. Basically, geographically located in between 59 and Lard Copy area. Hirsch, it's in that square. Hirsch, Lard Copy, Knoxwood, and Tidwell in that square. It's called Trinity Garden, actually what it's called.
Know exactly where it's at. Tough area.
Give us a
Northeast
time frame for
I grew up
folks.
around it was in the 1960s,
Okay.
actually. I was born in 1963, and we came up in the area from
Late
1963 all the way to about 1981.
All right.
So it was just growing up, trying to understand and navigate the trials, the tribulations, the turbulence, and coming up in a poverty-stricken community where there's nothing but negativity all around. I mean,
Surrounded by it.
exactly. You have negativity and positivity, love and hate. But it was more hate and it was more negativity coming up in that type of community. But you had to adjust and you had to navigate. So I stayed strong.
And you said some siblings.
I've had 3 sisters,
Okay.
3 biological, and there was a stepsister there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So growing up, and then obviously you got into sports. Where'd that come from? Any particular inspiration or?
Well, I just started focusing on what I actually wanted to do with my life. I didn't want to just sit around and do nothing, become nothing. And I knew that as a human being and as an individual, if you want to succeed in life, you have to find a niche in life, figure out what you want to do, the direction that you want to travel in. So I decided to just start running. That was my first.
That was it, just start running.
Just start running around the house all the time, and I built me some hurdles. Like I took some 2x4s, cut them in half, knocked them in the ground, put like a hurdle on top of it, and just started doing that every day.
Now paint us a picture. How old are you when you did this?
Like 8 years old.
So you got an 8-year-old boy making his own hurdles with some 2x4s. And where'd you get with this idea? Where'd this come from?
Well, I knew we was very, very poor, and there's no way I was going to be able to ask my mother to buy me a hurdle so I could practice hurdles, because the idea came from Edwin Moses. When I seen him win the Olympics in 70, I think it was 76 or 74, I seen that. I said, okay, if he can do it, I can do it. So I started practicing hurdles. Even though later on I didn't run hurdles, I started running 400 meters and 200 meters. But I started out practicing hurdles on the side of the house in the backyard, just practicing hurdles, homemade.
The truth is, you were trying to outrun all them sisters.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
you were the baby, right?
Exactly.
There it is.
The baby boy.
Yeah, I was a baby boy. So that's how I kind of overcame a lot of the trials and the tribulations and adversities that I had to endure coming up young. I mean, like 8, 9 years old.
And I know you're a coach now, so we'll work up to that. Can you look back on anything in your younger years that may have planted the seed for you becoming a coach eventually, or it wasn't even a thought at that point?
I think all the reading that I done, all the studying, I became a geek. Basically, when I was in 6th grade at Elmo.
Who got you to start reading? I'm sorry to interrupt you. This is so interesting to me. Who got you to reading? Was it yourself or?
For some reason, I was always self-motivated.
Okay.
I looked at the community, and then I listened to John F. Kennedy's speech. That inspired me right there. He was a powerful speaker. And then I listened to Martin Luther King's speech. I'm like, okay, this is what I want to do as well.
So you had two positive people to look up to there.
Exactly.
To where you didn't maybe in your everyday life, but those are two greats at that time.
Motivating factor.
Yes.
They were the motivator.
Yeah.
I like the way they speak,
Yeah.
both of them. They were very, very powerful orators. So I was like, I want one day be able to articulate like that and communicate and command and have people to listen, you know, and have a philosophical knowledge as to what I'm communicating and articulating about.
So you had this vision of the guy in the Olympics to want to do the hurdles, but at the same time, you're looking at good speakers. So you're just observing and saying, you know what? These are the people I want to be like. You're looking around you and saying, these are the people I don't want to be like.
Exactly.
You're just being very selective, I guess. As for a young man, that's pretty, I would say that's pretty unique. Maybe it's not, but sounds pretty unique to me, where other people are just going along with the flow.
Exactly. I mean, it was just self-motivating. I had to motivate myself. I had no father in the house, and I'm hearing all these stories about these tragic events that occur when there's only one parent, and a male being, well, one guy told me, said, I've never seen a woman raise a man.
Yeah.
Just some random guy told me that.
And as a young person, that kind of stuff sticks with you.
And you lost your father at a very young age. We'll get to that. But yeah, so you had to overcome just that alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, once this elderly guy told me that, I was just like, okay, amazed from that point on. I'm like, okay. He said he's never seen a woman raise a man. I said, I'm going to be a man whether I'm raised by my mother or not. So I just started
I'm going to raise myself to be a man.
Exactly. Then I started just lifting weights. I started working out, started getting stronger. I said, I got to get stronger. I got to get smarter. So I started reading and working out, doing like 100 push-ups every day. Then I started doing 200 push-ups a day. I mean, I'm still young, like 11, 12, 13 years old.
Pushing it.
But I'm doing push-ups, just push-ups and reading. When I get through my push-ups, I start reading. And my sister was always looking at me, shaking their head. All my friends just looking at me, they couldn't understand it. Why you read so much? Why you study? So I'm analyzing.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm just
well, we're at the end of round one, so we ring the bell for round one, and we're just go to commercial break. And we're going to get some words from our sponsors.
Welcome back to In the Ring with Termite and Mr. S. Mr. S, this is getting, as Pastor Brady used to say, getting gooder and gooder.
It's getting gooder and gooder. So we're going to move on. I guess now, I think kind of our format here, I want to move into, I guess, get into some of these stories. And I think it's a little hard to get into these without revealing, I guess, one of the most difficult things you've had to overcome. So tell us a little bit about that, and I think that obviously going to unfold into some of the other things in your life.
Well, to be perfectly honest, the most difficult things I had to overcome is my mother actually committing this offense. And it devastated me emotionally and psychologically at the time because God gave me the gift of gab. God gave me the ability to think and analyze at a very, very, very young age. For some reason, I was able to understand. I mean, all the elders that was around, the neighbors, they couldn't understand. They couldn't perceive what was transpiring at that time. But for some reason, God gave me that ability. And I was able to think and know and
I'm going to
understand.
try to pull something out of you because we're out here trying to help people. Are you okay with telling them what we're talking about? What
Exactly.
happened? Do you mind doing that?
No.
Because there's somebody that needs it out there.
Well, in 1969, it was the summer, June. I remember very vividly. Me and Dee, we was playing marbles. We was just
You're 6 years old.
6 years old, playing marbles one day at my neighbor's house and my best friend Dee. So all of a sudden we hear a shot. And we just instantaneously jump up. We were both fast because we'd been running. So we sprinted to my house, which was right next door. And all I can hear was my mother hollering, "Oh my God, I didn't mean to kill Lloyd," which was my father. And well, she said, I didn't mean to shoot Lloyd. She didn't know he was deceased at the time. But when I seen that, my mother said, "Okay," to the neighbors, "get my son and get his friend." So we couldn't visualize what was happening.
Yeah, they wanted you to see too much.
But I had already
Too
visualized
late.
what had happened.
Yeah, you already
Seen
seen
my
that.
father falling down. He was just going down, sinking. Then I seen the blood, seen the brain matter, and it just kind of devastated me. I was like, okay. At that time, I wasn't aware of what that was. So all the lights, all the commotion, officers, investigators, all coming in, and they took my mother, and I didn't know what was happening. That really shook me up. Then I was really psychologically devastated at that time. I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know what was going on. But then they took me with her. I was like, okay. So they took us downtown Houston. I'm looking at all these huge buildings. I'm just shocked at the same time. Subconsciously, I know what just had transpired. But now we downtown Houston. Never been down. This 69. So I'm like, wow. I mean, I was just kind of overwhelmed. And then going in all these buildings, all these different rooms, asking me different questions, separate me from my mom. I'm at 6 years old. I guess they seen that this little boy have a little knowledge. He can speak. So the lead investigator was just asking me, actually, what happened? And I explained to the best of my ability what happened.
Wow. But for 6 years old, that had to be so devastating to first of all, for it to happen.
Exactly.
And then it was by your mom, which it was an accident, but still it happened.
Yeah.
And then to be drilled, from the police and all the investigators and that was just, it's devastating now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how did you pull out of that?
Well, I explained the best way I could. I told him what I heard. I said, I heard the shot, officer. I ran, and I seen my father falling. My mother explained to me exactly what happened. On the way down to the I guess, downtown police station, she explained to me what happened. And she said, no matter what they ask you, son, be brave, be strong. Look them in the eyes when you talk to them and explain exactly what I'm explaining to you. This wasn't deliberate, son, it wasn't intentional, and it wasn't knowingly, and it wasn't premeditated, son. I'm having to grasp these terminologies at that time, at a young age.
At 6 years old.
Yeah, and tell us
okay.
again, because I know you described it when you're outside, but what happened inside the house? Because it was an accident.
Yeah, okay, inside the house, my mother, the way she explained to me very vividly, very adamantly, she had the gun. They were in a heated argument. I won't say a major confrontation, but it was a heated argument at that time. So my sister came from the back room or from outside and became emotionally and mentally shocked at my mom with the gun in her hand. She said, "Mom, what's going on?" So she ran into the rocking chair, and the rocking chair rocked back. Her hand was near the trigger, or either on the trigger, and the gun discharged. My father
Startled
was
her.
standing up at the door, so it went off, and it hit him. And the trajectory was upward, so it tore through his brains. It tore through
Your
his,
sister
I guess,
saw that, and
his temporal lobe was damaged. They said even if he lived, he would be a vegetable. His occipital lobe was damaged. Frontal lobe was, I won't say it was damaged. I say it was kind of damaged. It was to a certain extent, but he still would never be the same if he lived.
which he didn't.
Which he didn't. So
it takes you a while to overcome this. And it's not anything you ever forget, but you did have to overcome it. And you caught me on a part a while ago. You like to read. Did you go to reading more at this time?
Every day. It was an everyday
Every
thing.
day.
People call me a geek. I read every day, and I ran every day.
Wow.
Guys used to say, you're going to run yourself to death, like the older guys, like guys in their 20s. You're going to run yourself to death. Boy, you need to quit running. I just kept running.
Wow.
And you were telling us earlier that the way you responded it, I think this is the powerful part of your story, is you had what, 4 older sisters?
Mm-hmm.
The way that they responded to it versus the way you did.
They responded negatively,
Yeah. Tell me about
and
how.
I responded positively. They started lashing out, being argumentative with my mother, being extremely confrontational with her, doing things that they wasn't supposed to do, like she would leave, right, and go try and work, go try and make some money to help compensate for the government assistance that we were getting, because it wasn't enough. So she'd go out and do some restaurants, and my sister and them would start having company over. So what I would do is start, and it's amazing, I'd start getting like coins and making up marbles inside of dirt, throwing at these older guys to get them to leave. Yeah, this
You're
is what
doing
I
your
did.
good.
I tell them, you guys need to leave. Y'all shouldn't be here at my mom's house when she's not here. And I'm like 10
You're
years
the man
old.
of the house at that point.
Yeah, I'm explaining to these guys. And this alienated me and my 3 sisters to this day. We never had a relationship. We never had any type of relationship. Because I was the one always going telling my mom, as soon as she came in the door, they always called me the rat, the tattleteller. But I was always tell my mom everything in detail, exactly what happened, chronologically. I was able to detail it. They'd be mad. How can you remember all that? Verbatim. Incident for incident. I knew exactly who came to the house. I was able to describe the guys. And as I got older, well, what I started doing was putting things together. Like, I'd put bleach and alcohol. I hate to say it. I make a mixture of bleach and alcohol. And I throw on these guys. Now I'm about 13 or 14. So
You're getting creative.
I became creative, exactly. I became a chemist. I started mixing things together, throwing on them, literally.
Oh, geez.
Literally throwing on them and at them.
Well, I want to get into more of this. We're gonna ring the bell now, and I want to come back after this message and talk more about the difference between you and your sister. So we'll be right back after these messages. Go ahead.
Welcome back to In the Ring with Termite and Mr. S. Mr. S is getting better and better and better.
I want to continue right where we're at. So you're talking about how this incredible circumstance that you went through with your father actually accidentally getting killed, and how your sisters responded to that versus
Negatively.
you. And I think that's
Deceptively.
very powerful, because I mean, who would blame your sisters for responding negatively to losing their father that way? It's like they have every right to, I guess, just feel sorry for themselves or whatever you want to put that.
Lash
but,
out.
But you didn't do that. And that to me was,
That was a choice.
how did you do that?
Well, first of all, I decided I wanted to be successful in life. And I understood what it took to be successful. Either sports, entertainment, TV, or just becoming a speaker, a powerful speaker like Martin Luther King and John F. Kennedy. Be an orator. I said, one of the 4, I'm going to make it. But God gave me that gift to be able to communicate and lead others. So I started working on my leadership philosophy, my leadership ability, and my leadership and motivational skills and techniques.
Now you're in your teens at this time.
I'm in my teens. So no matter what it was, I was always the leader of it. When I was in middle school, I was on the track team. They made me a co-captain. Then they made me a captain because I was able to speak. I was able to motivate the other guys. And the same with high school when I played football. I was a spokesman of the team.
And it's that choice you made, because I believe God created every single person with a unique purpose that no one else has, and it is up to them to find that and fulfill it. So your sisters, I believe, were created the same way, but they obviously made a different choice. So it's almost like whatever God created them for, it just never came to fruition because they didn't make those choices. And it's you making those tougher choices, to me, is the most profound thing that really altered the whole course of your life. And if other people can do the same, that's what we're trying to get to, right?
Right. Well, my sisters motivated me. When I seen all the derogatory things they was doing, the negative things they was doing, then they started smoking cigarettes, they started drinking. They were doing everything that I didn't want to do, and they was being every individual that I didn't want to be. And I very consistently I spoke that to them. I'm not going to be like you guys. I'm going to be different.
How did they handle that?
It alienated us more. They
Really?
were very, very upset. They lashed out. They were aggressive with me. They used abusive language toward me consistently.
And I know you said that growing up, you're a little guy. You didn't have a dad,
Very
no
thin.
big brothers.
Right.
And now you're kind of target for the neighborhood and getting bullied.
Mm-hmm.
You said you had to deal with some of that.
Right. Was a guy on the next street, Fitch. He was the first guy to start bullying me. You know, he was kind of bigger guy, probably about 60 pounds heavier. He didn't really injure me, just always pushed me. And always said verbally abusive things. You know, he abused me verbally more or less, but he pushed me every now and then, you know, and said, you're not going to be nothing. You too skinny. You're not going to make it. But this same guy ended up being a drug user. Yeah. He became addicted to cocaine
Wow.
to this day.
Wow.
So you saw these examples,
Mm-hmm.
and you're having to overcome without a dad, becoming the man of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like you absorbed a lot of the things around you as negative and just said, I just don't want this.
Exactly.
That was like the main difference. You just said, I don't want this.
Yeah, that was the main difference. I just came to the decision that I'm not going to be like my sisters, and I'm not going to be like these guys in the community, because they all they want to do is hang out on the blocks, hang out on the streets. And to be honest with you guys, this is kind of hilarious. There was a young white guy came through there, we were around our same age, said, "Hey, you guys are going to be porch monkeys the rest of your life." When he said
Just
that,
rolling through the neighborhood,
yeah, he just was riding through, him and another buddy. And when he said that, I'm like, okay.
that fired you up.
It motivated me more. I'm not going to be a porch monkey. That's exactly what these guys said. I mean, it was, to this day, it was hilarious to me for him to say that. You guys are going to be porch monkeys the rest of your life, because they playing dominoes, sitting on the porch, smoking cigarettes. I was like, man.
Don't you wish you could run into him now and let him see what you've done with yourself?
Exactly.
Which I want to get to. I want to hurt him get to a certain point.
Yes.
So you're 12, 13, 14, you're coming up in life. And when did you get in football?
I got in football around 1973 or 74. There's a guy by the name of Glenn Roy Hudson, an All-American, blue chip.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Wayne, that's my middle name. You're a pretty strong guy. I'm going to call you Powerhouse. I'm going to show you how to play football." So he was the first guy to put a football in my hand. And you can look him up, Glenn Roy Hudson. He was the center for Arizona when Arizona was winning back in the 70s, 80s. He was the captain of Arizona Wildcats. He was a blue chip All-American. He played in the South All-Star game. And that's who put a football in my hand and started me playing football. So he was a very, very stern guy, like a Lawrence Taylor type guy. Had that mentality and that mendacity. He's very mean, very aggressive, big guy, like 6'5", 200 and about 280.
Ooh, big boy.
He can
Wow.
throw a football, he can punt a football, he can kick a football, but he plays center. And he can play receiver. Blue chip,
Nobody could get through him.
nobody can get through him. And he was the captain of the Forest Brook Jaguars football team at the time. So he was like, you know, you have to do something with your life.
Speaking of Forest Brook, do you remember Coach Schomburg?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't he a great coach?
Great coach.
Man, he left North Shore, and he great friend of mine before he passed, and he went to Forest Brook, and they won everything.
Exactly.
They just won everything. Isn't that crazy? How we're sitting there talking, and people that wasn't playing just come out.
Exactly.
That's wild.
Yeah. And that just kind of helped me once I started playing football to overcome a lot of the other trials and tribulations that I had experienced within the home. I went through a lot within the home. Sisters being very violent toward me, being very, extremely verbally abusive toward me, always talking negative to me. You're not going to do this. You're not going to do that. This is not going to happen. That's going to happen. It's not going to happen. So I had to block all that out. Had to be pretty much oblivious to the inside noise internally. They didn't understand that as I grew my knowledge enhanced. You know, my philosophical ideology, my psychological ideology, it all enhanced. You know, and my educational philosophy and ideology changed. I started educating myself, and I understood the more you learn educationally is the more you earn financially.
That's a big learn.
Readers are leaders. Your ability to read crystallizes your capability to lead, which solidifies your probability and possibility to succeed.
That is strong.
I started understanding this 13 years old.
That is very strong. Let's pause again, and I want to hear more about that. And we'll be right back after this quick message.
Ready? Welcome back to In the Ring with Termite and Mr. S. Man, let's get right to it.
I want to continue. I don't want to lose the momentum.
No.
But you're basically this mental strength, that I'll call it, that you developed.
Internally.
As a young man, the strength that we saw things were different. Continue. Just tell us more about them.
Now, before you continue, 74, how old were you? You were
11.
You were 11.
11
so
years
now
old.
we're talking 13, 14 years old.
Yeah, 77, 76.
Okay. Answer that, and then I want to know when you got into football.
Okay, like it's like 1976. I kind of coached my younger sister because she was fast as well. So I guess God gave us that gift. But I later on found out that my father ran track in the Army. So that's where our speed come from. So my sister was faster than me. So I drug her to the schoolhouse, BCMO, and we both was running track. I said, okay, we'll be the first sister and brother Olympians. She was like, okay. She was okay with it for about all of 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
It takes a lot of work.
She quit. She was faster than me, and she quit. I could not outrun her until I got to the 9th grade.
See, that's that talent versus work ethic.
Exactly. And then once I became a 9th grader and went to high school, I made the transition to high school, then I started playing football because my mother didn't want me to play in middle school. She didn't want me to get injured because I was so frail. So once I got to high school, she gave me the okay, and I started playing. And that's when life got a little bit better for me. I started making a lot of friends. I started communicating more. I started advocating against violence, against deceptive people, against derogatory people, people who was always being hateful and vindictive towards others, people that are always going around starting and initiating trouble. And I started talking against that in the 9th grade, letting other guys know that these are the people that you don't want to associate with.
Right.
My exact words was, you guys over here need to learn how to associate with the people who have your answers and not your problems. Because problems are not stop signs, they're guidelines. And I told one guy, once I got to the 10th grade, I told one guy, guess what, brother? The sun is up there shining, right? And he's been up there all these centuries, all alone. And he's still up there shining. And this was way back in like 1978. And here we is in 2026. And the sun is still up there shining all alone.
Constant.
Constantly. So this was always my motivation. The older I got, the better I became as a communicator and orator. And the more I started watching Martin Luther King and John F. Kennedy. And it just felt good.
Now, all the good feelings and basically you're improving yourself, you're helping others, people become better. You told us something earlier before the show about not everybody supports you whenever you're kind of on that path and becoming better.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about some of those friends that I guess didn't really appreciate.
Yeah.
That
Well,
side.
that was the D I was telling you about in the G. These was my best friends coming up. I mean, 'cause we was poor, they was happy because, I had to go to them for food and nourishment, go eat breakfast at their house, maybe go eat dinner. But all of a sudden, after I graduated and my mom bought me that car, now D and G started becoming envious.
So these are good friends of yours.
Best friends. We did everything together. Everything. We rode bikes together. We played football together on a consistent, continuous basis. We would never play against each other. We'd always go on the same team when we were playing streets against streets against streets. It was always us. No matter what we did, it was always us three. We was like the three amigos. We was always close.
And you said your mother helped you out with a gift on graduation and helped get you a car.
Yeah, once my mother did that, then everything changed overnight, instantaneously. Now the jealousy, the animosity, the insecurity. I mean, they was like, okay, he's already smart. Now you have a car. He's going to broaden his horizon. And that's exactly what I did.
And it's the part that I'm trying to emphasize where y'all are good friends. They're your best
Exactly.
friends. So they could have very easily just supported you and went along for the ride. Hey, man, we're Lloyd's friend. But instead, they're threatened by it. And they're kind of looking like, well, you think you're better than us. And then they drive away. And now it's that, I don't know what's in some people that they don't necessarily support their friends when they start to see them moving up in life. It almost
Prosperity,
like you think
progress.
you're better than us. And I don't know. I don't know how you can speak to that, but you've experienced that.
Yeah. Well, I basically just became oblivious to all the noise because that's all it really was, talk. You have to be oblivious to all the communication, all the hate, all the jealousy, all the animosity. You know, you just have to overcome it
That takes a lot of self-discipline, doesn't it?
and be above it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're your best friends, and now you don't play together, and you feel lonely, but you don't want to keep yourself from rising just so your friends don't feel threatened by you. And it's like you're forced to choose.
Their stance was always this: you think you're better than us now, Lord, because you're using those big words. You know how to communicate now. You think you're better than us, so we really don't want to associate you. You don't hang out no more. You don't hang with us. You don't come around. It's because I had to distance myself from them. It's better to walk alone, and I told these guys this, D and G. It's better to walk alone in the right direction than walk with the crowd in the wrong direction. And you guys are the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Now, what about trying to help them out? I know you got a big heart. You don't want to just abandon your friends. I know you said you've tried reaching out, but at some point you realize they're pulling you down. And how do you balance that out?
Well, the way I balanced it out, I just said, okay, we'll go out to eat sometime. I taught D how to drive trucks, the 18-wheelers, because that's what I was doing periodically too. So I gave him a skill. But all of a sudden, they both, D and G, became addicted to cocaine. This was like 87. And I tried my best to help these guys. I said, okay, now I really have to try and balance this out because these guys are on drugs now. So they're not thinking properly. They're not thinking responsibly. They have already lost their loyalty, their dignity, and their integrity. This was already out the window. So now I have a plethora of more problems I got to deal with, psychologically dealing with my two best friends that I've known all my life, since I was 5 years old.
And your sisters. So
And my sisters.
You're just having to be a strong person all around.
Well, I started being standoffish. You know, I started traveling a lot, and I started just kind of separating myself from all of them, which they didn't approve of or appreciate either. I just stayed away from them. You know, no matter what, I always had something to
You
do.
ain't going to let them pull you down.
Yeah, I said, I'm going to go to the track and run. I'm going to go to the gym and lift weights. You know, then, like 85, I met Carl Lewis.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and he kind of like, okay, you need to kind of separate yourself from these guys.
I want to hear more about that story. We're going to ring the bell on this last one, and when we come back, we're going to wrap it up with Carl Lewis and kind of how you basically become the man you are. So right after these messages.
Welcome back to In the Ring with Termite and Mr. S. Mr. S, we're in the
the final round. It goes so fast, and it's so
Yeah.
hard to squeeze all these in. But right before the break, you were talking about how you met Carl Lewis, and I want to culminate. We've got the last segment here. You're now a coach. I want to talk about what you're doing,
And where he played football.
where you played
Yeah, where
football.
you
So we
played
got a lot to
football.
squeeze in.
Okay.
So I'll shut up and let you get on it.
We're going to let you do the talking.
Well, I had some very motivating guys as well. A guy named Jay White and a guy named Highland Holmes. These were motivating factors in my life too. These were young men that kept me focused on football. It was like, Killer, you can make it, because that's my nickname. So I kept playing and played for Glenn Junior College, and I played for Houston Forest Brook. Then I got the invite to the Houston All. This was prior to me meeting Carl Lewis.
Okay.
But in 85, I ran against him. We didn't really have a good relationship. Yeah, I ran against his relay. They showed up at Rice University.
Oh wow.
Myself-
Ran against Carl Lewis. That's
Yeah,
great.
myself, a guy named Marcus Ward, Micah Harris, and Derwin Graham, who ran for Baylor and ran for Glenn. Micah Harris ran for U of H. We all just showed up. I'm the only one that really hadn't been training. But I came out of the blocks, and we ran against Carl that day, and that's how we kind of met. I shook his hand. From that day on, we were kind of close. So I said, okay, I'm going to keep training. So I stayed training. Then, like in '89, I got the invite to the Alders, a workout, a tribe. But due to that neck injury, they couldn't sign me because I was a hazard, an injury hazard. So I had no problem there. I just kept running. I always kept running. I never stopped to this day. And that's how I stayed in coaching, and that's how I became a coach. And I was always able to motivate athletes to perform at their highest level, to activate them, to get them strong psychologically, mentally, and emotionally. No matter what it took, I was able to elevate them and motivate them to perform at a higher level than the level that they was performing at. For some reason, God gave me that ability as well to elevate athletes.
And you lived it. And I think
Right.
going back to when you went through the tragedy that you did with your family, you just said you had to distract your mind. You started running.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you're recognizing things that you got to do for yourself to get your mind focused. Otherwise, you're going to go down a downward spiral like your sisters. So now you're taking that and just helping others.
Right. I've had some negative areas in my life with females. I'm going to be honest. Females was kind of like my downfall. Most guys chase women. That was my downfall, and that was my major problem for like 30 years.
30 year, okay.
And I had to overcome that.
How'd you do
Because it's
that?
hard to drag a 1,000-pound weight up the top of the mountain or the hill. And I couldn't continue to make excuses like everybody around me was making, because I realized excuses was pretty much a tool of incompetency. A lot of people don't believe that, but excuses are tools of incompetence, that build monuments of nothing. And those who engage in them are non-achievers. Or
'Cause it
those
gives
who
them good
master in
reasons.
excuses are non-achievers.
And you recognize that you felt like you were doing that.
Exactly. So I had to kind of differentiate from that and deviate from that, and then start walking a better path. And I realized that the greatest glory to consistency when we fail is rising when we fail. I had to realize that. And you can't be successful or you can't achieve anything just by standing around watching and waiting. I've always been told of this, that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So Sir Isaac Newton stated.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's physics.
Yeah, so I realized that too, and the only way to be strong is to make your own decision. Be self-disciplined, self-reliant. Rely on yourself to make that last decision, to make sure, like the studio here, make sure all the lighting is appropriate, make sure all the doors are locked, make sure security is in place, make sure everything is neat and prepared in terms of preparation.
Prepare, yeah.
So I understood that early on.
So as we wrap up, what do you want to be remembered for? What are the things that you're working on now? I know you have a big heart for people. You want to inspire. Summarize on what you're really wanting, the words that you want people to hear, and what your legacy to be, and the impact you want to make.
I want people to understand that Lloyd Gordon, or Coach Gordon, tried to help somebody. I tried to love somebody. I tried to make this world or this environment a better place. I tried to lead by example. I led by example. I want people to understand that no matter the trials, the tribulations, the turbulence that I endured, I overcame. And I did what it took to be a better individual and be a better person. Because I realized this, the past is where we've been, the present is where we at, and the future is where we're going. And we want to make that future bright, better, and more broader. So we can have that ultimate, unique understanding that is right and wrong. There's 9 letters in positive, and there's 9 letters in negative. Which one you want to choose?
Wow.
There's 4 letters in love, 4 letters in hate. Which one you want to choose? There's 3 letters in joy, there's 3 letters in sad. Which one you want to choose?
That's good.
There's 5 letters in lying, and there's 5 letters in truth. Now understand this. God's ways are right, His words is eternal, and His will is unchangeable. So if any individual in this world, this entire world, just have an understanding and do what is morally, ethically, and principally right, and have a positive thinking order, and I mean constructive thinking,
Right.
logical thinking, creative thinking, cognitive thinking, and you can make the right decision.
Talk to me a little bit as we close up. I know you said you got family members. How do you deal with people that you care about, that you see that are making the wrong decisions, that could be pulling you back? You don't want to abandon them, but you realize you can't help people that don't want to be helped. How do you deal with loved ones that just aren't responding like you would love them to?
Consistency. Consistency. I consistently communicate to him like I'm dealing with a nephew now. I just consistently talk to him. I try to give him a purpose. Try to get him to understand preparation. I try to get him to understand expertise. Nephew, you need to be an expert in whatever you're going to do. And you can't be an ordinary person or ordinary communicator doing ordinary things. You have to do something extraordinary. You have to perfect your strategy and your skill set, no matter what you're doing in life. Be creative in creating capital. No matter how difficult it is, you have to be creative in creating capital and depend on you. And this is how I just communicate with all my nephews and nieces. I
love it.
continue to beat them over the head with it.
You just said a key word, and it goes all the way back. We've made a big circle in this whole conversation, but it comes back to each and every person, you.
Exactly.
Comes back on you.
And
Self-accountability.
you have inspired me. And thank you for being on this show. Just what a heck of a story.
This is awesome. And we are running out of time. It's perfect timing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I hope people out there are inspired and encouraged by you. We like to finish off all of our shows by telling people that life is like a boxing ring. Things are going to come at you. Looking at your own camera, we're going to keep your guard up. So go ahead, just keep your guard up. It's coming at you.